When it comes to building an unvented roof assembly, we typically can't insulate with only batt or blown-in insulation, otherwise we can get condensation on the backside of our roof sheathing, and so we're typically limited to two different options to address condensation problems. We can either install rigid insulation outboard of the sheathing to warm the condensing surface, or we can install closed-cell spray foam on the underside of the sheathing to control air leakage and to slow down the outward movement of vapor. But actually, we have one more strategy that we can use to mitigate moisture in an unvented roof assembly that's been insulated only with fibrous insulation materials like blown-in fiberglass, rock wool batts, or cellulose, and that's where vapor diffusion ports come in. So what exactly is a vapor diffusion port? It's still a relatively new concept to a lot of contractors and design professionals, as it was formally recognized by the 2018 IRC as an approved strategy for unvented roofs with conditioned attics for warm climates, that being IECC climate zones 1, 2, and 3. A vapor diffusion port is simply a highly vapor permeable membrane that's been installed at the ridge of the roof, very similar to a ridge vent. However, unlike a ridge vent for a typical vented roof, a vapor diffusion port does not allow any air into the assembly, as this is for an unvented roof system. Rather, the vapor diffusion port is airtight, watertight, but highly vapor open to allow for the migration of water vapor that accumulates at the ridge to diffuse out of the building before it has a chance to form condensation. The whole concept of a vapor diffusion port is based on two fundamental concepts: hygric buoyancy and vapor pressure. Hygric buoyancy is a phenomenon that occurs in which warm, moisture-laden air is less dense than dry air, and it displaces the dry air, resulting in moisture accumulation around the upper floors of the building, particularly in attics around the ridge being the highest point in the building. Basically, humid air floats and dry air sinks. Moisture in the form of vapor moves from high concentrations to lower concentrations, or areas of high vapor pressure to low vapor pressure, and this is the driving force that allows a vapor diffusion port to work. We're getting all this warm, moisture-laden air accumulating at the ridge, and by using a vapor permeable membrane, we're simply letting it out by allowing vapor pressure to do its thing. And this allows us to use fibrous insulation materials in isolation in these unvented roof assemblies, like fiberglass, cellulose, rock wool, or wood fiber, without having to use exterior rigid insulation or spray foam, and this is really a game changer when it comes to reducing the added cost and complexity, as well as the risks associated with spray foam. Now, a few things that you need to know when it comes to using vapor diffusion ports in your unvented roof assembly. You do still need to provide some mechanical ventilation to the attic space or to the finished room that you're installing the vapor diffusion port in. Conditioned attics actually need to be conditioned by receiving conditioned air, and that can be easily accomplished by providing a little bit of supply air to the attic space at a rate of 50 CFMs per 1,000 square feet of ceiling area. This is pretty simple to achieve. If you can't get that in there, we recommend at the very least having a dedicated dehumidifier to service the attic space, especially in more humid climates. Again, we're using the vapor diffusion port as a passive means of moisture removal, but we don't want to challenge it unnecessarily if we don't have to. We also want to make sure that we're sizing the vapor diffusion port appropriately, and so we want to have a minimum diffusion port area that's equal to 1 to 150 of the ceiling area. So if you have a 2,000 square foot ceiling, you want to have a vapor diffusion port area of 13.3 square feet in total. And that can be broken up across multiple ridges and even hip ridges if necessary. It doesn't have to be continuous. So if we wanted a 4-inch wide vapor diffusion port at the ridge, we would want to have at least 40 linear feet of diffusion port. Now, as far as the construction of the vapor diffusion port, we already sort of touched on it, but all we're doing is terminating the sheathing just shy of the ridge, again, very similar to what we would do for a standard ridge vent. Then we're installing a peel and stick or self-adhered roof underlayment. This will provide a continuous and monolithic water and air control layer. And then at the ridge, we're installing a strip of a highly vapor permeable membrane material and taping it to the self-adhered underlayment so that we have water and air control continuity. For those who are wondering what to use for the vapor open membrane, look for something that's at least 20 perms wet cup. That's what the code says. However, we prefer at least 50 perms or higher in most cases to ensure that moisture isn't lingering any longer than it has to. It also needs to be UV resistant and highly water resistant. Remember, this is being installed on your roof, and it will likely see greater exposure to weathering. You also want to make sure that whatever you're using is compatible with the underlayment that you specify, as well as the roof covering that you're working with. Finally, we cap the diffusion port with a standard ridge vent. We want air to pass through above the vapor permeable membrane to carry away the moisture diffusing out of the attic and away. Otherwise, it's just going to stagnate and condense underneath your roof covering material, rendering the diffusion port useless. So why can't we use vapor diffusion ports in temperate and colder climates? The short answer is that condensation forms before the vapor accumulating at the ridge has a chance to escape through the vapor diffusion port. And so during the testing of vapor diffusion ports, mold growth was observed in these colder climates. However, there are still ways to make vapor diffusion ports work even in temperate and slightly colder climates like climate zone 5, using an airtight smart vapor retarder membrane or vapor variable membrane to slow down the migration of vapor and prevent interior air leakage into the upper parts of the roof assembly, while allowing moisture that does get into the roof assembly to either dry downwards through the vapor variable membrane or out through the diffusion port. Building Science Corporation actually conducted this testing for the Department of Energy back in 2016. We'll put a link to those reports in the description below. If you found this video helpful, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more weekly building science videos, and head over to our website at asiri-designs.com, where we have over 150 free building science articles that cover a wide range of topics. Links will be in the description below. For now, good luck with your projects. Cheers.